YouTube. This is Don Zico with another Warhammer Fantasy Battles battle report. This time it's going to be my Dark Elves playing against Tomb Kings under the ETC comp, which means I'll have 2,400 points and he'll have 2,600 because, you know, Tomb Kings. Now, my opponent here, he's being a pretty good sport because basically I was trying to get as many games in as I could to test out this ETC list with a variety of opponents, and you know, we only had a couple easily available opponents to go with, and I didn't want to just play against Skaven and Warriors of Chaos over and over again, so he decided he was going to run my own Tomb Kings army against my Dark Elves using a list that he wrote up. So that's pretty much the situation, and let's go into deployment. Now, we were playing a Dawn attack, so he wound up deploying his entire army first, and then I got to deploy after him, but I was limited, you know, to deploy units in certain portions of the board. So over on my left flank, I've got my Pegasus Rider. Next to him, I've got my 15 Repeater Crossbowmen, and I believe my level 2 support mage is in that unit. And then behind them is my big Spearman block, and I've got my level 4 Shadow Mage in there. I've also got my Shades deployed over on the left. Then directly to their right, I've got my unit of 20 Corsairs with the Sea Serpent Standard. They're deployed very wide. Then next in line is my 20 Black Guard and my Hydra. And my Hydra, you can't see it extremely well from this picture, but he is sitting in a spot on the board entirely to avoid being shot by the other guy's skeleton catapults, where he's got two skull catapults, and there's a hill, and they're both over on way over on the right, and there's a hill that's going to block one of them from seeing the Hydra on the first turn, although the other one still has a direct shot. Anyway, and then past that, I've got my Harpies and my Shades. And the reason my right is so light is that basically he wound up rolling so that his 2 skeleton catapults are way off on their own without anything really protecting them over on his left flank. And my thought was that the Harpies and the Shades, their job is basically just to kill those catapults. And, you know, then they'll take it from there. So the Tomb King's deployment, and he had to deploy all of this first, bear in mind, is on his extreme right, he's got a unit of 4 Necropolis Knights. Next to that, he's got a War Sphinx, and then he's got a big unit of 8 Chariots with the Banner of Eternal Flame. Next to that, he's got a unit of, I want to say it's about 25 archers, and in that unit he has 4 hero Lich Priests, because he's running the Light Council build. So those are his only characters, but there are 4 of them. One of them has the Lord of Mankara, because he has to for the Hierophant, and then the other 3 all have the Lord of Light, so he's got a Strength 6 Banishment. Standing behind him, we have my Dragon, which is a proxied Hierotitan, because I don't have a Hierotitan model and I haven't converted one up yet. And then moving across, he's got his Casket of Souls behind that unit, and then he's got another unit of Necropolis Knights. He's got another War Sphinx, and way out on the flank, he's got his 2 Skull Catapults, and he's got a unit of 5 Skeleton Horse Archers deployed over there. He basically just deployed them in to prevent me from putting my Shades too close to his War Machines, just to try and buy the catapults a little bit of time. So the way the scenario worked, he was very likely to get first turn, and he got it. So in his first turn, he's going to move up, not everything, but a lot of stuff. So on his right, his Necropolis Knights move up, his Skeleton Chariots move up, his War Sphinx moves up a little bit, and then moving across, he's also going to advance slightly with his other Necropolis Knights. And then over on his left flank, and which is my right flank, he's going to move his Skeleton Horsemen around to take some pot shots at my Harpies. And I guess this is just another picture of him after movement. As you can see, he's advanced his Necropolis Knights slightly, and his other War Sphinx is moving up towards my Harpies. Now, his magic phase, I don't remember the specifics. I want to say he must have had a really low roll on the Winds of Magic, like a 4 or something, and he didn't do anything significant. In his shooting phase, he's going to try and hit my Hydra with a Skull Catapult, miss. He's going to take some pot shots with his bows on his chariots. I think he might like kill a Corsair or something, but no big deal. And he just wasn't thinking, so he didn't advance his big unit of archers with his Lich Priest in it, so that unit's going to be out of range, and he's not able to shoot my Blackguard or anything like that. So the only shooting he does that's really significant at all is that he's going to shoot my Harpies over on the right and try to panic them, but he only manages to kill one with the Skeleton Horseman, which doesn't force a panic check. So that brings us to Dark Elves turn 1. Basically, my thought process is that the really big threat here are the chariots and the sphinxes, because they are going to be, in the case of the sphinxes with toughness 8, I just don't have anything that can reliably kill them in close combat unless I Mind Razor them, which is difficult in this game. And if I get into combat with the sphinxes, I can't hit them with Pit of Shades, which is a pretty reliable way to kill sphinxes. And then the chariots are a problem just because if they're throwing out like 5d6 impact hits, and if those are strength 5, my units are small enough that that's pretty much going to be the end of me if I get charged. So I don't want to get charged. Instead, I just move around a little bit so that I can hit the chariots and the Sphinx with shooting and magic. But on my right, it turns out my Blackguard, if they march like 10 inches straight forward, can get out of the charge arc of his chariots. And they do that because I'm confident that they will have no trouble defeating 4 Necropolis Knights in close combat. And if they do that, then either he has to divert his chariots or War Sphinx to deal with me, or I'll just have combat units in against his archer unit with his Lich Priest. And if I do that, I'm going to get a ton of victory points, kill his Hierophant, kill his magic phase, and that'd be quite good. And then the other thing there is that my Hydra is going to move up right behind the Blackguard, and again I've got him positioned so that one of those skull catapults can shoot at him, but the other one can't. So I'm just hoping to keep him from getting killed by shooting and magic, and if he gets into combat, that's great. If not, if he can just soak up enough of the shooting and magic coming at me that my Blackguard get into and like Corsairs get into combat okay, I think that should be enough for me to win. Now, in my magic phase, I'm going to cast both Miasma, Big Miasma, and the Withering on his big block of chariots. So they're only going to be movement 5, which makes it a lot harder for them to charge me, and probably more importantly, they're going to drop to toughness 3. So that makes them a very valuable target for crossbow fire, and that's exactly what happens. I'm going to open up in my shooting phase and kill, I think, 3 full chariots. So now, well, never mind, just 2 chariots. But anyway, so now he's only got strength 4 impact hits, and he's unlikely to charge me next turn, so I'm going to probably get another round of shooting at him. I'm just much less concerned about this unit than I was beforehand. I'm also going to hit, I guess I'm just hitting the Necropolis Knights with shooting. I don't know what else I could have been hitting them with. That's enough to kill one of the stakes from the Necropolis Knight unit, so that's certainly better than I was expecting from just a unit of Shades shooting at them. And then over on my right flank, my Shades are going to shoot at his Skeleton Horse Archers and kill all of them. So that's pretty much it for Dark Elf turn 1. And here's just a shot of the board at the end of turn 1. So that brings us to Tomb King's turn 2, and he begins by charging my Blackguard with his Necropolis Knights, and I think this is just an indication that, this is what happens when you're unfamiliar with an army, because he must not have realized exactly how bad a fight this is for the Necropolis Knights. And, if instead he had held back and taken another turn to shoot at my Blackguard or hit me with magic or whatever, maybe it would be more favorable for him. But instead, he's just going to get obliterated here, basically. And apart from that, he's going to kind of shuffle around on the rest of the board. He'll advance his snakes up a little bit, his other unit of snakes. His War Sphinx is going to move up towards my line. His chariots are going to move up slightly. He's going to move up his archers enough that they can shoot at me. Or actually, no, I think they're going to stay put and shoot my Hydra. Never mind. And then way out on the flank, he's going to move. He's going to keep moving his War Sphinx across to try and keep my shades from getting at his catapults. So that brings us to shooting and magic. He, I don't know his exact roll, but he had another bad roll for Winds of Magic, and he's going to cast very little. He might have baited out the Dispel Scroll by this point, but really there's just nothing going on for him in Magic, and that's a serious problem with the amount of points that he's invested into it. And he's getting these bonus dice from the casket. He's got 4 channels going. He's getting the bonus like D3 to cast from his Hydra Titan, and still just nothing is happening for him. So this is really rough. But in shooting, some combination of 1 Skull Catapult and his bowman managed to put a single wound on my Hydra. But that was it, so that's not terribly impressive. But then I forgot to mention in my previous movement phase, I moved my Harpies up, and 20 inches was just enough to get them out of arc by going past the front of his War Sphinx on this flank. And so now he didn't really have anything between the Harpies and his Casket of Souls, so he figured he needed to do something just to save the casket. So he hit the Harpies with one of his Skull Catapults, and he managed to hit one of them. They fail their panic check, and they're going to run away. I'm going to say I'm not sure why I took this many pictures of the Harpies, but it does look like I was wrong, and he put 2 wounds on the Hydra, not 1. But even so, it's basically his shooting and his magic are just not doing much to my army. So in close combat, the only thing that's going to happen is my Black Guard are going to obliterate his Necropolis Knights before they even get to swing. So I take no casualties at all, and they're completely dead. And because he charged me, I can't overrun. So instead, I'm going to reform them to face his chariots and hope that I can get a charge on them next turn. And in my turn 2, that's exactly what happens. I get a charge on his remaining 5 chariots with my Black Guard, and again, this is just a catastrophic fight for the Tomb Kings. Without getting the charge, those chariots are just doomed. And then for the rest of my movement, I'm going to charge his Necropolis Knights, his remaining Necropolis Knights, with my Pegasus Rider. I'm thinking that if they're depleted by 1, I can definitely hold them up, and even if I don't do that, I might get lucky and kill them, or even if I die, I'm going to put some wounds on them, and I should be able to follow up with shooting to pretty much get rid of that unit. I'm going to advance with my Corsairs a little bit, which have reformed into a deep formation. Their goal is to fight the Sphinx, and my thought is they're deep because I can only get like 4 guys in base combat contact anyway, and if they're deep, then that keeps me steadfast. Excuse me, that keeps me steadfast so that I can, if I need to, I can wait in combat a couple rounds on a successful Mind Razor, which is what I'm going to need to kill that guy. Then my Harpies are going to reform, and my Shades had to backtrack a little bit to keep away from getting charged by his Sphinx, but they're still within range of one of the catapults, so they'll still be able to shoot that. Now, my magic phase isn't anything really spectacular. I think I try to cast Pit of Shades on his Sphinx, but either it gets Dispel Scrolled or it scatters off or something like that. Either way, nothing happens. I do cast Miasma on his archery unit, so their shooting will be slightly less effective against the Hydra. Basically, I'm just hoping the Hydra is got an easy charge against him next turn if he's still alive. So I just have to hope that his shooting and magic keep failing. And then in my shooting phase, I don't have a lot that can shoot. I mean, I take some shots at his War Sphinx with my crossbowman and my mage with Life Taker, and I think I put a wound on it. And then over on the other flank, my Shades shoot his Skull Catapult, and they put a wound on that. Then in close combat, my Black Guard are going to just obliterate his chariots before they even get to strike back, so they still haven't taken a single wound, and they've now deleted 2 units off the table. Black Guard are really good. And then over on my left, my Pegasus Rider, through some combination of attacks and crumbling, he manages to kill one Necropolis Knight, but there's still two left, and obviously they stick around. So here's the board at the end of turn, two. As you can see, he's got his three big constructs left. He's got his War Machines and his Archer Bunker, but there's really nothing standing between my Blackguard and my Hydra and his archers with all of his mages, and then my Shades are getting at his Skull Catapult. So this is looking pretty grim for the Tomb Kings. And not only is it grim, but the dice don't do a whole lot to change things. He tries to charge my Corsairs with his War Sphinx over here, and he fails to charge, so he just moves like 2 or 3 inches forward. On the rest of the board, he's going to move his other War Sphinx and his Hyro Titan to attempt to intercept my Hydra before it can kill all of his archers and mages. But they're Tomb Kings, so they're really, really slow about it. Anyway, so the sum total of his shooting and magic, I think he completely fails to put a wound on the Hydra. So yeah, he must have had another bad Winds of Magic roll, or I don't know exactly what was going on, but for whatever reason, he just was not casting anything, despite all of these cool toys he had for his magic phase. He does kill another Harpy. And that forces a panic check. I think they fail. I'm not positive about that, but even if they pass, they don't really do anything else that's going to matter over the rest of the game. And in combat, my Pegasus is going to basically whiff his attacks against the Necropolis Knights, and he'll take like a wound in return. And then he's going to lose combat by like 1, but he fails his break check, and he runs, but he gets away. So I'll have a chance to shoot at those guys before they charge him or anything else that's valuable back there. And that brings us to Dark Elf turn 3, and basically, I've got living combat units near his Hierophant, so my goal is basically to get in and cripple his magic phase and kill his Hierophant so he starts crumbling this turn. So I'm going to charge his Sphinx with my Corsairs, hoping to either hold it up and maybe put a wound or 2 on it and hope that it crumbles, or to get Mind Razored and kill it like that. I don't know. But either way, I need to keep that from like killing my archers or my Shades or my Bunker. My Blackguard are going to reform to face his Skeleton Archers, so they can get in and kill that unit next turn if the Hydra fails this turn, and my Hydra is going to charge right into them and align in such a way that he's in base contact with the Hierophant, and he's way over on the left side of the unit, so that it's an extremely long charge for his War Sphinx. Then on my right, my Shades, now they don't have to worry about getting charged anymore, so they're going to advance up and try and threaten his War Machines some more. Now, I'm not sure exactly what I did in my magic phase this turn, but I know that I did cast Searing Doom on his Necropolis Knights. I'm going to kill one more snake, so he's only got 1 left. I think that was basically the only really important stuff I did in my magic. But in my shooting, I'm going to shoot his remaining Necropolis Knight and finish him off, so now he doesn't have anything fighting on that flank. And my Shades are going to shoot one of his Skull Catapults, and they're going to roll enough 6s that they'll finish it off, because it already had a wound on it. So, close combat. The Corsairs are going to put like a wound or 2 on the War Sphinx, but it's going to hit back and kill a ton of Corsairs. So I'm a little concerned that maybe this strategy is not going to work out as well as I thought. But I am still steadfast, and I do hold, even though I lose my frenzy. But over here, my Hydra is going to kill his Hierophant and a bunch of Skeleton Archers, and then, that's going to start the army crumbling. So between combat resolution and the crumble check, he's down to, I think, like 1 Skeleton Archer, maybe 2, plus his other 3 Lich Priests in combat with my Hydra. And then he goes through and does the crumble check on the rest of his army, and that's going to kill his other Skeleton Catapult. It's going to kill the War Sphinx in combat with my Corsairs. It's gonna, it's not gonna kill his Casket or his Hierotitan or his remaining Sphinx, but between the crumble check at the combat phase and at the start of his next turn, by the time he gets to actually moving next turn, the only thing he's going to have left are his casket and his Hydra Titan and his remaining War Sphinx. So, I mean, this is pretty much game over, but we'll see how the rest of it goes. So the pictures kind of get spotty going into Tomb King's turn 4 because it's just pretty much over. What I have up here is the 3 6s that my Hydra rolled on his leadership check when he got hit by the casket. So the Hydra's dead, but apart from that, he's just gonna, try and move his Hydra Titan and his Sphinx forward a little bit, and that's pretty much going to be his turn. And my turn 4 is going to be similarly uneventful. I'm just, moving everything up to try and get closer, to try and get in range to kill his Hydra Titan and his War Sphinx and his casket, because that's all that he has left on the board. And honestly, I waited a couple days to finish the battle report after the game, so I'm a little fuzzy on the precise chronology for the last 2 turns, but the key points are this. His casket is going to get killed by the crumble roll, either on his turn 5 or his turn 6. I'm going to move everything up towards his remaining 2 monsters, but I'm not really going to be able to close with them. He is going to kind of realize that he doesn't have a lot of options for salvaging any kind of victory points at all out of this game, so his War Sphinx is going to turn and hit my Shades with a breath weapon. It's going to kill 3 of them, just enough to cause a panic check. They're going to fail their panic check and run off the board. And then on my last turn, I'm going to cast Pit of Shades, and I'm going to hit his War Sphinx, and I'm going to kill it. So at the end of the game, he's got the Hydra Titan left on the board, and everything else is dead. And in return, he's killed my 10 Shades, and my Hydra, and I think that's it. So definitely a massacre for the Dark Elves. So anyway, that's the game. I mean, it was nice to get a win after sort of two straight crushing losses to Warriors of Chaos, but really this was a mix of the matchup, the other guy's inexperience with the army, and just blind luck. Because the thing is, his shooting phase and his light magic council should have been doing a lot of damage to me as I came across the table. But it just didn't happen. For whatever reason, a mix of the fact that I had the level 4 versus his level 2 and just bad wins and magic rolls meant he was casting very little that mattered, and his shooting just was not very effective. And he made mistakes like charging my Blackguard with the Necropolis Knights. I had the benefit of setting up after he did, so I could pretty much decide what matchups I wanted and what matchups I didn't. Yeah, and that all adds up to a pretty unfortunate game for Tomb Kings. Anyway, again, thanks for watching, and I'm still trying to get games in to prepare for Bragging Rights and for Southern Assault. So hopefully I'll play some more games before too long, and I'll have the reports up here. All right, thanks for watching.